10 o'clock, everybody, and this is Fox 10 Talks. Can you believe the image on your screen? A massive explosion. How would you like to be parked in this parking lot, and all of a sudden you hear it, you look up, and you see it? It was caught on somebody's dash cam. And here's the backstory. We've been kind of looking into it for you. Here's what we know. I'm going to roll the video right away. And there it is. Man, I mean, that is a big time and very destructive explosion. Here's what we've learned. So apparently there was a driver who hit a medical center on kind of the far edge of that parking lot. This is in North Carolina, by the way. And they hit it at the exact wrong place because what they did was cause a gas line to rupture. I mean, if you think about it, if the driver had hit in a different location, it might not have blown that gas line. But that's exactly what happened. And if you can believe this, the driver, after causing all that destruction, takes off. Well, fortunately, there were police active on scene. Oh, take a look. This is them kind of driving away, right? Basically putting it in reverse and getting out of there as the debris just kind of continued to haunt anybody that was right in that area. Yeah, very interesting. I mean, so this is our first chance to get a full look at the full minute to 2 minutes of the video. Then this is exactly what you could expect is going to happen. You get bystanders coming out. There's a big car dealership there. So I believe these images all come from the car dealership, and the medical center is just right there across the street. So here's what we've learned. The driver is being held without bond on a hit-and-run charge. We don't believe any person was hit, but it's a hit-and-run against a building, and it caused massive amounts of damage, and also on a DUI. So we'll keep track of that story as it continues to unfold. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for spending some time with us today on Fox 10 Talks. I'm Ron Hoon. We have several big stories we want to get to you right away. We have people that watch all around the country, as well as plenty of folks right here in Phoenix. We've had this big breaking story now for, well, let's see, I think about the last maybe 90 or minutes or so when we very first got the, hang on one sec, I'm going to call up Dominique, her graphic here, just trying to punch that right now. We have Dominique on the phone on graphic 7, and let me bring to you a little bit of this video as well from what was unfolding out there. Okay, so graphic 6 is what I'm looking for. There is Dominique. And Dom, you've been on scene out there for the last hour, I think, since you arrived shortly after the story broke. What have you learned so far?
Yeah, hey, Ron, good morning. Yeah, we've been out here probably for about 2 hours. We're still currently here. We're on McQueen and Pecos in Chandler. And we know this was an officer-involved shooting that started a little bit before 7 o'clock this morning. And when officers, they responded to a home, it was near Fry Road and Windstream Place, and that's where a resident was reporting that a man was trying to break into their house. So when officers arrived, they found him, but then he took off. And during that pursuit, that's when the suspect, he actually rammed into one police car kind of near that neighborhood area. So he eventually stopped near the intersection where we're at. He got out of the car, but he had a firearm, and he tried to run, and that's when that officer-involved shooting took place.
Okay, so the intersection itself, Dom, is it quite a ways away from where the attempted break-in was? Have you been able to connect the dots, you know, in terms of on the map and how people were impacted by it all?
Yeah, I don't think it's too far away, probably at least maybe 10 minutes or so from the current scene where we're at. And we spoke with a PIO, Public Information Officer, not too long ago. And he said before he can talk to us, because there are two crime scenes and, you know, they have some distance in between them, that's why they have to work on that and working on getting more information to look at the first scene where the neighborhood was at, this scene at the current intersection, and then they'll be able to give us more details.
Now, I'm just wondering, though, you look at the police response here, and that seems like it would be a huge police response for an attempted break-in. It sounds to me like what maybe elevated it, and I'd like to get your take on this as well, is the fact that when the guy was trying to get away, which, by the way, my understanding is I don't know if his body's there now, but earlier this morning, the body was right on scene because he was trying to run away. You can correct me if that's incorrect, but my take on it is it was elevated to the point where you had so many police officers involved because he smashed in to a police car that originally responded.
Correct, yeah. And initially we thought that he ran into a police car here at this intersection, McQueen and Pecos. But then once we found out more information, that actually happened closer to the neighborhood. So, yeah, it was first kind of starting off as what seemed like an armed robbery, but then, ramming into a police cruiser and then starting that whole pursuit. That's when a lot of more law enforcement vehicles started to get involved in this. And yes, his body currently is still here on scene.
So, Dominique, good morning. Syleste here. Great job, by the way, throughout the day on kind of gathering some of the evidence here. And we're showing some of the Skyfox video overhead as well. You mentioned some of the nearby neighborhoods. Have you seen any neighbors out or people street side or anything like that, coming out or being affected? Or have you heard from any witnesses or anything like that on scene?
Yeah, we haven't heard any witnesses, but we definitely have seen a lot of people like across the street stopping and watching or taking video and pictures with their phone. So I think it's safe to say, this doesn't typically happen in this type of area as a residential. We're right across the street from like a shopping plaza as well. So people, doing shopping. I can see a school bus across the street as well. So it's a really busy, active area. And so the fact that a majority of this intersection is shut down, you can tell it's really shocking to a lot of neighbors.
And finally, Dom, have they given any indication when they're actually going to... I understand when there's a fatality, it takes hours to make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, but especially if it's an officer-involved shooting. I'm guessing here that body could be on the scene still for several hours and the intersection, at least portions of it, shut down.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to be out here for a majority of the day. They said they'll be able to give us an update probably within an hour, maybe in an hour and a half, 2 hours, because they have to look at the body camera footage involved at this as well and comb through the scene, talk to investigators. But even with that suspect's car, that's still on scene, and the police cruisers involved, their cars haven't moved all throughout the morning. So I think they're just kind of at a standstill, have to wait until they get that okay, call the tow truck, get the coroner's office. So it's going to be quite some time.
Okay, yeah, and that was, matter of fact, one of our viewers was asking about the specifics there, whether the coroner had already moved the body, but it sounds like it will be a while. So excellent reporting for us, Dom. If you hear anything new, please let us know.
Yeah, thank you, Dom.
Okay.
Okay, so on to another story here. This is unusual for sure, Syleste. Yeah, I don't think you can call it a hit and run, but the guy did run. It's the wildest thing. So you got that truck, looks like a dump truck, that was trying to navigate that corner right there. You have multiple lanes that are merging onto the 101 at Glendale, and the driver lost control, but didn't harm anybody else, only his load. But he failed to stick around.
Oh, so he took off on foot after the crash.
So Glendale PD are trying to piece it all together. If you have any clues that could help, you could certainly contact Glendale PD.
Maybe he didn't have a license, or maybe it was expired.
Any of those kind of situations.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get everybody up to speed on what's going on with Hurricane Erin. We have asked Bella to join us once again.
Hi.
So some of the latest video, Bella, that is coming in regarding all of this has to do with just the churn. Remember yesterday we were talking, it was 600 miles across? I saw this morning that hurricane is 1,000 miles wide. It's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy because yesterday it was 780 feet wide, so a little bit shorter than, or miles.
Correct.
Yes, miles from, if you look at the size of Texas, it's a little bit smaller than the size of Texas yesterday, but now it is like surpassed that. It
Holy
is
cow.
huge.
That's wild.
But despite its size, it does go to show that, you know, even if it's not making direct landfall, we're still going to be seeing those indirect impacts all across the East Coast. And I'm glad you pulled up these videos because the really big thing we're seeing right now is going to be that action in the water. Waves are churning, up to 20-foot waves in some spots, especially in the coastal Carolinas. And I did bring up this graphic. So it is right in between North Carolina and the Bermuda right now. But the good news is it has already made that turn, that curve east. So I know the last few days we've been talking about that sharp turn it's making. So thankfully it hasn't propelled back up to a Cat 3. It's still at a Cat 2. But I mean, look at those miles associated. We're still seeing 90 mile per hours for tomorrow, 80 miles per hour Saturday. Still a lot of that storm damage is being tracked all across the East Coast.
But, you know, I look at that and I think it could impact Ireland next week.
Could.
Look at that map.
Yeah, and especially those little islands in the Atlantic coast as well.
One of the videos that was coming out of, if you want to go back to the videos, Ron, you know, these are some of the, I think, the calmer waters and some of, like, they believe Kitty Hawk. We had Chelsea Torres live there yesterday, and she was sharing some of the ideas that that was kind of the safe place to be, was in Kitty Hawk. It's really the Outer Banks of North Carolina. That I saw this video posted to social media this morning, and, you know, a lot of the homes there on the water are built on stilts, right? Like on big platforms that are raised, and the water was going through underneath those homes and covered the streets. The Outer Banks are flooded right now. And of course, we don't have a ton of video because the Kitty Hawk is where people are seeking refuge. But it is, you're right, Bella, there's a lot of water that's getting flooded onto onto land.
Yeah, I did see in the Chesapeake Bay that it's 2 feet above average in terms of the water level. And not only is these coastal spots going to see flooding from the ocean, they're also going to be seeing it nearby rivers. So for both today and tomorrow, it says that rivers and the ocean are at both a moderate to major risk of flooding. So even those spots inland, if there's rivers, there is a chance of flooding happening that way too.
Can I give the viewers a hint at what you and I and Syleste are going to be talking about next week? Look at that, would you? Look at all those rain chances. Hello, monsoon!
Yes.
Okay, Bella, stand by for that as as next week gets going. I think it's going to be a big talker.
Exciting. And I don't know if you saw, but 20% chances of storms for today. I mean, what a way to welcome in the weekend. That's exciting. And the fact that we're seeing double digits on Wednesday, incredible.
And here's our mystery cam, back in 2 minutes. Okay, we had this shot for you just a second or two before we went to break. So if you want to go ahead and give us your guesses.
So
I don't know why I'm in a singing mood
I
today,
love that.
Celeste. Thank you.
Yeah, Ron is trying to serenade the rest of us.
Yeah,
Chad.
sure.
Yes. Okay, so we've got Michigan. We've got, let's see, Dave Rousseau says does look like Michigan. Frankie D says trees.
Yeah.
We've got trees.
See,
We've got some fountains.
we're not quite as green as this here in the
No.
valley. We do have trees.
We do.
But not quite to this level. Okay, so then what is that off in the...
I'm
so-
going to go Wisconsin.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I like all those fountains in there, and I love that little kind of a catwalk where you can be up above the lily pads. That does actually look like a really beautiful spot. Okay, so you've got a Wisconsin going, and I'm going to go with Dave. Dave Brousseau has Michigan.
And Charles David says Tucson. So I don't know if Melinda's in the chat yet.
Yeah, well, that's an inside joke for our regulars. Somebody has to guess Tucson every day.
Okay, so
Okay.
here it is.
Yep.
Frankie D says he's with me on Wisconsin. Allegan, Michigan?
Well, now, Celeste, I would just like to say that's my first victory, and I went with Dave.
You did.
He's a smart
Dave
guy.
Brousseau.
It's my first victory in many days.
A nice, well, you were off last week, so.
Correct. So I was ineligible to
you
have
were.
a victory. Correct?
No, you're always eligible to have a victory, Ron
Yeah.
Hoon.
Okay. Hey, we have one of our favorite guests, Josh Kolsrud, prominent attorney here in town, joins us this morning because there are a couple of big legal cases that we are following, and we wanted to get his take on it as well. Josh, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Okay, thank you for joining us. We've got a massive legal win for President Trump. But I want to start with the Menendez brothers because my understanding is the hearing, the parole hearing is underway right now. I'm going to roll some video. You know, this is a case that's been in the news for a very long time. Their parents dead. The boys at the time, or young men, convicted. And all these years later now, they might be looking at the possibility of parole. What is kind of your take on what's going on?
Yeah, so about a month and a half ago, the Superior Court judge sentenced the Menendez brothers again and allowed them to apply for parole. And in California, just like in Arizona, there's specifically a board of people that reviews whether or not it's relevant to release a prisoner. And basically what they have to decide is this prisoner a danger to the community? Are they a significant danger? So there are going to be arguments today for one of the brothers and arguments tomorrow for the other. And what they're going to be arguing is, you know, their attorneys, that they are not a danger to the community, that both brothers have been involved in different organizations within the prison system. They've essentially been model prisoners. They've received recommendations from correction officers, although Eric Menendez was caught with a cell phone earlier this year, and that may go against him in these proceedings. But remarkably, the victims' families in this case, the Menendez brothers' families, have by and large supported their release, and that's huge. So the parole board members are required to take in the input of the victims' families, and when the victims' families are recommending release, the probability that they are going to be released is so much more. So assuming that the parole board issues a recommendation for their release, which they probably will do, it'll be then up to the Governor Newsom, to decide whether or not he wants to do this. And Governor Newsom has issued what's called a risk assessment, where he has a psychologist give the brothers a Q&A based on the DSM-5 to determine what their risk level is to the community. And if they come back and say that their risk level is low, I fully expect that Governor Newsom is going to sign off on this.
You know, we've been waiting for details on what will eventually happen in this case since Thanksgiving, really. Since November, it's been in the headlines. What are your thoughts on how the family has been so supportive of them, even after what they were accused of doing so many years ago?
You know, victims and their families react differently to trauma. It's hard to predict. You know, in one scenario, you would have a victim's family saying, no, we completely object to this type of determination. I used to appear on parole board hearings all the time when I was a prosecutor. And that usually is the case where the victims' families have had enough. The murders in this case were so horrific, and it was premeditated that it's hard to imagine that you'd want these two boys that boys.
They were boys at the time, of the crime,
to be released, given the brutality of the killings. But it appears that they've already had closure, and that they've forgiven them for what's happened. There's also an allegation that maybe the motivation was based on some type of abuse, some type of sexual abuse.
Thank you. That was going to be my next question, was because now that it's been so many years later, there are accusations of abuse by the parents on the boys, right?
There are, and it's what prosecutors term the abuse excuse, that your actions are excused if you can name some type of abuse. And we saw this in other cases, like the Jodi Arias case, where she claimed that she was the victim of domestic violence from Travis Alexander. And, she said that the reason why I shot him 27 times and stabbed him a bunch of times in the back was because of domestic violence. And here you have that as well.
All right, let's go on to our second topic, which has to do with, it kind of came out of the blue, but President Trump, day after day, we saw him sitting there in the courtroom in New York. This appeals court this morning came out with a ruling. I don't know if you saw this coming or not, Josh, but after he was found liable in the civil case, the amount of the penalty was staggering. It was $500 million. So they say he's still liable, the court does, but they've thrown out the $500 million judgment. What's your take?
Yeah, so this 323-page opinion was massive. And what makes it unique is that it's what's called a plurality opinion, meaning that there isn't any one majority opinion that matters. So what they did decide was, the liability is still there, that Trump violated this statute. But they're saying that also the Eighth Amendment prohibits the Attorney General from levying excessive fines. And so there are a couple things about this decision that are really unique. Number one is the application of the Eighth Amendment in a non-criminal setting. You really haven't ever seen that before. And number two, you're seeing a New York statute being affirmed where it was used against an individual in a private transaction that really had no victims. And the appellate court upheld that and said, even though this is a novel way of applying the statute, we're still going to uphold the liability.
Okay. So, is that the end of it? At what point do we know, okay, you still have to pay, say, a $50 million fine? And what are the odds that he can get this whole thing overturned?
Well, there's certainly a chance that he could. So this case is going to be fast-tracked to New York's highest court. And I expect that there probably will be arguments at the end of the year with a decision in early 2026. Now, the plurality opinion that came out today had 5 different opinions about how they got to the conclusion that they got to. So the New York's highest court is going to be able to do any one of those things. And, it's anybody's guess what they will do. But here are the options. The court can say that the Attorney General overreached by applying this statute to the Trump organization the way that she did and just throw out the entire thing. Or she can say, or the Supreme Court can say, that the liability stands, but we're going to adjust the fine because we think it's excessive. Or they can say that the liability stands and we're also going to continue to levy the $463 million fine. So, it's anybody's guess to what they're going to decide to do at this point.
Wow. And time frame, just real quickly?
Yeah, I would say that at the end of the year, we're going to hear oral arguments, and then beginning of 2026 is probably we're going to get a holding.
Wow. Okay. Holy cow, Celeste.
Yeah, a lot
I don't know
happening.
about you, but Josh sheds so much light, answers all the questions that we have. That's why we love having you as one of our great guests, Josh.
Thank you, Josh, for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Now, let's roll right into the poll question this morning, and we're going to check in with Dave Dave here in about 30 seconds. Look, these numbers are moving around, and so let's get you the very latest. We have only 5% of you saying you think this is a good ruling. $500 million fine was always ridiculous, but 65% are saying the fix was in right from the start. The whole case should be overturned. As Josh just told us, that's one of the options. And then Syleste, 30% saying, I don't like it because it seems like he's getting special treatment. He is the president after all. So the QR code, but also action on our YouTube version.
Yeah, so here's a quick glance there at that YouTube poll this morning. And a lot of times it's a little different. Big Trump legal win, $500 million fine, in New York City fraud case tossed out. Your take here, 41% of you say don't like it, seems like special treatment since he's president. 31% of you say good, $500 million fine was always ridiculous. 28% of you say the fix was in from the start, the case should be overturned.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, without any further waiting, because the audience gets anxious.
And they get excited when they see this gentleman, Big D.
Big D. Hey, Dave, pull that mic a little closer to you.
You got it.
That's the one. We want to hear your dulcet tones. Go ahead and tell us how people are feeling about this. We're getting a lot of votes, that's for sure.
A lot of votes, more than 600 on YouTube already. Two great comments I wanted to point out here. OMDT Road says the court said the Trumps committed fraud, but the fine was excessive. And then Jennifer James from Apache Junction says just because he is worth a ton of money doesn't mean he should be fined this much. Also, if they go after him, are they going to go after all the politicians for this much of a fine? I don't think so. So really interesting comments on both sides here. Keep the comments coming. Keep the engagement up, guys.
Okay. And we have a lot of people. The second day, do you ever notice that when you're chatting with everybody? Dave, Big D.
And then the second we take him, his image on TV, he just shines like the man he is.
Yes.
And the numbers rise.
Yes, they do. I mean, Frankie D has given Dave like 12 exclamation points. No, maybe like 6. But you deserve it, Dave. Big D. You definitely do.
Shine like the star you are.
There you go. All right. So we have a lot more stories that are just coming in. This is FTT, Fox 10 Talks. We keep an eye out for the breaking stories as well as the most interesting stories of the day. Hope you can stay with us. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. And that is just a beautiful community, I think somewhere in the Midwest on one of the Great Lakes. Celeste, there's a story that is breaking. Let me just pull up one of our live sources here so that we can get our... I think it's going to be ENG 21.
Yeah.
There's been a reported active shooting situation on a college campus. Tell us more.
Yeah, the information just coming in right now, so breaking at this hour. This happened just within the last 30 minutes or so. This is University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, the campus there. You see the police car there, and we don't have any control over these images, by the way. We believe it's our sister station, our Fox station there in Tennessee. They're zooming in a little bit farther to some of the vehicles that you see there on campus. So what we're hearing, there's a lockdown in place at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, a possible active shooter situation there on campus. They sent out an alert to students and teachers and community members there. It was just shy of 10 a.m. here in Arizona time, and a possible active shooter. They're saying that it could be at the university center or the university's library. The alert said, according to this report here, it said, run, hide, fight. A Hamilton County emergency alert reported the campus was on lockdown and advised people who live in the area in and around campus. Beautiful part of Tennessee, by the way, there in Chattanooga. Told them, hey, stay inside your homes. We're not sure what's going on. Police have said they haven't found any victims just yet, but they're searching, again, University Center, the university's library, along with the university campus. And this is the first week of classes for this campus and universities around the country.
And this is not the main campus, correct?
This is at Chattanooga.
In Chattanooga,
In Chattanooga,
right. So
yes.
I believe Knoxville is where the main campus is for the University of Tennessee. But still, a dangerous situation. Everybody taking it seriously. We just have that one live shot, but we'll sure stay on top of it.
Yes, we will.
Okay. This next story. By the way, Bella joins. When we get into the stories that are, say, some of the most interesting of the day, we love to get your take.
Thank you.
As well as everybody watching in the chat. Story this morning, Celeste, of a woman who goes on social media to warn everybody that, quote, one shot, one drink, one cocktail can kill you. This is unbelievable. She's from Canada. She went on to TikTok a few days ago to say that a cocktail that she drank left her blind. Is this unbelievable?
And really, actually quite frightening.
I mean, you
That's
are
terrifying.
trusting whoever the bartender is or whichever establishment that they're going to do that they're selling you what you think you're getting.
Well, and that
Right?
you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, it can happen. It happened to her on vacation, but it can happen anywhere, really.
So her name is Ashley King, and she lost her vision. She went blind after what they think is methanol poisoning from a drink that she had on vacation. She released a video with a petition to increase awareness of sometimes other things that are put in drinks that you don't know is there. And in her case, the drink that she was given reportedly came in a reusable plastic bottle. So that part of it sounds a little bit unusual.
A little fishy, yeah.
But it's a compound reserved for industrial processes. And in some cases, it is added to alcohol to stretch out the supply of what you really think you're getting. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
Right.
Yeah. Rather use water.
Yeah.
If you've got to water something down, do something different. That's instead of using some substance.
Yeah.
Some potentially that could be deadly, and in this case, really
Losing your vision.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? I mean, let's hope she gets it back. But right
Yeah,
now, it's been weeks, and anyway, it's rough. So yeah, she said in her posting that by the way, she was on vacation in Bali, and she said that she has now learned that it is often added to alcohol to stretch it out, I guess you could say.
Well, that reminds me of something that happened in Mexico, I want to say 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah?
There was a group of 4 women who were vacationing. They were also from out of the country, and they were all found passed away in their hotel room.
Ooh.
And it turns out there was also something being put into the resort's alcohol, maybe to stretch out the supply, and then they all turned up dead. So
Oh, wow.
that's just really scary. And, when they say to always watch who's pouring your drink, even in those cases, if you're watching the bartender pour your drink, but the thing's already in the drink, that's really scary.
Well, one place you don't have to worry about the booze at all is McDonald's. They provide a lot of,
That was a great transition.
Well, I'm looking. I'm trying.
Although they do have something that'll perk you up. It's called coffee
yeah,
and Diet Coke.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the story. We're just transitioning. They're not at all related to that last story, but they have finally admitted after all this time. How long have we been complaining here on this very popular streaming show?
Yes.
About a lot of these fast food prices.
Since it started.
Yeah, since its inception.
Celeste, since the very first week when we were back in our little closet space.
With the fan.
With the fan and the blowing curtain. You long-timers remember what we're talking
Can we
about.
just say we love all you long timers?
Oh, for
You
sure.
stuck out with us when we were in the closet.
Yeah. Okay. So they actually announced yesterday, look, we admit it. Everything Celeste has been saying is true.
Oh, wow. Can I get that on record?
Sorry, that was the only part they didn't say, but they should have, because they just came out and said, you know what we're going to do? This is so smart on their part. They're going to drop the price of all of their combo meals. I don't know how quickly they're going to do it, but they got electronic signs. Come on, you could change it today.
Yeah, no kidding.
But when I first heard this, I thought, they're going to lower the price by 3%. Or 5%. They say they're going to drop the price 15% on every one of their combo meals.
Wow. Okay, so does this include like that $8 special you were talking about?
No, that's separate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is not just the value menu. This is all of their combo meals. So, you pull up, you get let's say you get a double quarter pounder with cheese.
Yes.
And then if you order just a combo, you get the fries and the drink. And then you look at the receipt and you're like, well, that was almost $12.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I'm not getting very much of a value, so good for them, I think.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Now, if you had a burger that I'm going to give you, I just looked at the menu on Mickey D's.
Yep.
Big Mac, and you in the chat box chime in. What do you think the calorie intake of a Big Mac is?
Ooh, Bella will let you guess.
I don't
You're
want to
the
know.
Nutritionist.
Maybe like at least 350 calories.
350 calories, okay, which isn't actually quite bad, I don't think.
I'm going to
anyway.
go 600, Celeste.
600, 580, Ron.
Oh.
Wow,
okay.
you were close.
Sure.
Yeah, that was good.
I'm some kind of calorie counter.
Well, it's like you think of like the 2,000 calorie count that we're supposed to be allowed to eat.
Yeah.
It's like come on.
I know.
Then you
Come
add the drink and then the large fry and then a
Thank
little
you.
pie. I mean, that's your calorie intake for the day.
This leads into, I subscribe to a service called Business Insider.
Oh.
So where I'm giving them all the credit for this story, but they had a reporter, her name is Ivy Carbone, and she said, I visited 5 fast food chains with a $10 budget. The difference in the value of the 5 blew me away.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so here's
Great journalism.
Yeah. She said, I went to Shake Shack, $10 didn't go very far. So we'll just move
What a
along
great
with that
idea.
one.
We should do that locally.
I know. Do we have any volunteers for going? I'm just suggesting one of our employees. Anyway, okay. Then she went to Chick-fil-A and she got a chicken sandwich and fries for about $9.
Okay.
That's it. A sandwich and fries, $9.
Yeah, it's
She's
very-
like, I don't think.
Well, Ron, do you remember?
These fries make me thirsty.
Bella, Ron and I went through the drive-thru at Chick-fil-A. It's kind of like our spa. And Ron says, "Would you order chicken? You order the chicken tenders."
Yes.
And the guy says something like $7, and Ron goes, "No, just the chicken,
Not the meal.
not the meal." And he's like, "No, yeah, that is for the chicken."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, their prices are going up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
All right, number 3, then she goes to BK. And she says, this is where things looked up for me. I got their medium chicken junior meal, which came with a sandwich, a drink, and a side. And she said for the side, she chose onion rings.
Ooh, delish.
And it was all $6. Wait, she added something. What did she add? Oh, she got a second sandwich for $2. So it was $6.50, and for $2 more, she spent a little over $8 and got 2 sandwiches.
Wow.
And everything else we just
That's
mentioned.
pretty good.
Then she says she
Where
went,
was that again, Ron?
that was at BK.
BK.
And then she said she went
Have
to
it your way.
McDonald's. And she said, I opted for the $5 chicken meal deal. which is a McChicken and the fries, the 4 nuggets, and the drink. And that's actually, I think that's a pretty good value.
Okay.
Okay. And then here comes the last one. She says, finally, I stopped at Wendy's. And she said, I feel like I had the most choice, the most variety for $10 or less. I went with the crispy chicken BLT. They call theirs the Biggie Bag, which has the sandwich with bacon and cheese, 4 nuggets, medium fry, medium drink for $6.80.
Wow, that's a great deal.
That's
So
good
at
to
the end of the
know.
day, she got the most bang for her buck at Wendy's.
Yes.
Okay.
And she felt like BK and McDonald's both did pretty well for her.
But Shake
Okay.
Shack and was there Chick-fil-A were a little too
Yeah,
pricey.
she didn't really like very much of what
Yeah.
happened there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know I've been off for a little while, so I'll blame it on me. But for the first time in a long time, it's time to ask AI. Okay. Does that sound like the robot that's
I
going to be
love it.
taking our
Sounds
jobs?
really good.
Okay, go to your AIs, whatever you guys use. I'm going to go to ChatGPT. Where did I put it here?
Okay.
Now, here, the question we're going to ask is, Celeste, where, in general, when it comes to fast food, where do you get the best value?
Okay.
Okay, something along those lines. So here. In general, when it comes to fast food, where do you get the best value? Here we go. Come on. Thinking. Oh my gosh. Is this? Go.
In general, hold on, let's see. Sneak a peek.
Hi, glad to meet you.
Oh, good.
I think we're going to do.
Oh, was that your guy?
In general,
Okay.
what was the question, Ron?
What is the best value for fast food?
Okay, here, Bella's going to save the whole segment. Okay, Bella, here we go.
Okay. It's loading.
Okay. Do we have a Wi-Fi or something going on?
In general, what is the best value for
Read it
fast
to me.
food?
The best value in fast food can really depend on what you like and what you're looking for. Generally, places like Chick-fil-A or even McDonald's offer pretty good deals with their combo meals and value menus. Sometimes local spots also have great deals. It really comes down to what you enjoy and what's most important to you.
Oh,
He is
see?
so conversational
Can I just,
sounding.
and I really do love a man with an accent.
I know, Celeste.
Who doesn't?
All right, we're gonna
I don't know.
come up-
That actually was just like, anyway.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Ella's going to get her phone working. Mine, no luck at all. Okay. Back after this. All right, we located the music.
Yes,
Somebody
we did.
had unplugged the jukebox.
I know, that sounds like a party foul. We've also been having fun with AI, so let's find out more from this. Where are you from?
Celeste is flirting with her AI commentator. Go ahead, Celeste.
Where are you from? Where's your accent from?
I don't have a specific place I'm from, but I can definitely adapt my accent to whatever you'd like.
Oh,
It's all
okay.
part of fun.
Where's your favorite meal? What kind of meal? What do you like to have for dinner?
I don't eat, but I do love hearing about all sorts of meals. I'd say I'm a fan.
I don't eat.
Do you have a favorite color?
Oh, Celeste, come on. We have a format here.
Are you married?
Okay, let's let Bella try. Oh, there you go. That's when they kick you off. Okay.
Fast food places for cost.
All right, here we go. Ready? Go for it.
Okay.
Okay. And this is our asking. Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay.
What was that?
Oh, I think that was just a little bit of a...
Hello. What is the best fast food places for affordability?
Wow. He's thinking. All right.
I think he's looking. He's filtering through his MERS for the coupons.
I think he's hearing too much noise.
I finally got. I think I got mine working.
Okay.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Of course. What would you like to know?
There we go.
Oh, he sounds like a
Where do I get the best value of amongst all of the fast food places?
For the best value in fast food, places like McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Wendy's often have budget-friendly options, especially with their value menus. Chipotle and Panda Express can also offer good value with larger portion sizes.
We didn't even think about Taco Bell
or even Panda, because Panda is a drive-through. A lot of pandas have drive-throughs.
Yes,
That's a great point.
Great. Okay. Well, there you go. The beauty of a streaming show is it's kind of raw, right?
It's authentic.
Correct.
Yes, it is.
We are all, well, Bella is like at a different level when it comes to tech, but we're going to keep working on it. This is our way of saying we love the segment idea.
Yes.
But AI ain't taking our jobs anytime soon.
No.
Okay. All right.
brother.
Just having a little bit of fun with that. So we are going to move on. Right at the beginning of the week, we had a story that to me was so interesting. I said, we have got to dig into this and get an expert to join us because it looks like maybe there are developments when it comes to valley fever. And so what we decided to do was to ask, he's a prominent doctor here in town, pretty well known, Dr. Douglas Lake, who also helps at ASU. And so, Doctor, thanks for joining us here. What are these new developments in terms of the fight against valley fever?
Hi, happy to be here. Thanks for having me. So we developed a rapid test based upon the clinical need for a rapid test so that doctors and healthcare providers could know right away when somebody comes in with a pneumonia or a respiratory infection. Is it valley fever or is it something else? Is it a viral infection or a bacterial infection?
How is that, doctor, test administered?
So we hope that it will eventually be a finger stick. We're not approved yet for a finger stick. We have to go through a regulatory process to do a finger stick. But typically, someone would give a tube of blood, and then that blood would go down. They're in the emergency department. They would be waiting in the room or go to phlebotomy. They'd give a tube of blood, and then the tube of blood would go down to the lab, and the lab would process that tube of blood, and then they'd transmit the answer up along with your other blood chemistries and things that they usually do in the emergency department.
So most of the time, it's not too serious, but how serious can certain cases of valley fever be?
Yeah, so valley fever ranges from, quite frankly, many people don't seek medical attention at all, but other people, about 40% of the people do seek medical attention, and about 10% of those end up with very serious disease, and if it gets into your central nervous system, it can be fatal.
Is there, you've long heard that when you have valley fever, sometimes you know you don't, sometimes you know you have it, sometimes you don't. Does it lie dormant? And then once, let's say your symptoms go away, does it ever go away, or does it always lie dormant within your body?
So that's kind of an important question. If you have valley fever and you get over valley fever, presumably you're immune for life and you can't get it again. However, the body, your lungs kind of wall off that infection. It's like tuberculosis. Your lungs will wall off the infection, and in general, you won't necessarily reactivate. But now with these new immunosuppressive drugs, we think that some people may reactivate their infection if their immune system gets suppressed.
I remember first learning about valley fever soon after I moved here because I was sick one time. And people at work were like, hey, that could be valley fever. And coming out of the Pacific Northwest, I'm like, what the heck is that? But, I had heard, and you could tell me if these are just like rumor, urban legends that are out there, or is this the real deal? I had heard that sometimes these spores of the fungus basically can even hide in the dirt here. And I remember saying to myself, I'm not going out by any dirt anytime soon. True or false on that one?
Oh, absolutely. So the fungus grows in the dirt here in the valley. It grows in Tucson, Casa Grande, all southern Arizona. It's named actually after the Central Valley in California. But so the fungus grows, we may get a little rain. Hopefully one day we'll get some rain here. And when we do get rain, the fungus grows in the dirt. And then obviously, it's very dry here. So after the fungus grows, it dries out a little bit. And when it dries, the spores, anytime the dirt is disturbed with digging or even wind, dogs dig a lot of times in the dirt. And when we get some dust in the air, we can inhale those spores. And the spores are just the right size to germinate down in your lungs. And then once they germinate in your lungs, the fungus kind of transforms into something we call a spherule. And that's what causes the pneumonia.
So just one last question, real quick, doctor. My daughter, actually, she was diagnosed with valley fever last Christmas, and it was something we went through, and we were quite surprised. Spent about 4 or 5 days at Phoenix Children's Hospital. Pretty scary situation, but I had not known until they did the blood work with her. Are there symptoms or things that we should know? My kids play athletics outside, so they're surrounded by dust living in the desert here. But are there symptoms we should look for in children or adults? And when should we get checked out by a doctor?
Yeah, so that's the hard thing, is that the symptoms are really indistinguishable from COVID symptoms or any sort of influenza. But typically, you can have a fever, you can have a cough. The cough may be productive or not, produce mucus or not. A lot of patients report just extreme fatigue, drenching night sweats. But a lot of times it's indistinguishable, which is why the test is so important, is that, we just don't know clinically, does somebody have a bacterial infection or viral infection, or is it valley fever? So we want to actually, if it's valley fever, we want to actually know if it is, because we don't want to give people antibiotics. I'm sure you've heard about overuse of antibiotics.
Yes.
We don't want to do that.
Okay. Well, Dr. Lake, this has been 6 really educational minutes.
It really
But of course,
has.
Celeste, he also works with ASU, so we knew we were going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, plus because he's a Sun Devil.
Yes, correct. Forks up. Okay.
Dr. Lake, thank you so much for your time
you.
this morning.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Well, that was great.
Yeah,
I mean,
good
a lot
information.
of info. My biggest takeaway, 10% of all cases are extremely serious and can even be fatal.
So if you have any question, he says right now it's just the blood work. So make sure you get your blood checked, or you push your doctor to do it. Can you please just check? Because you never know.
Hey, one more story here. And Isabella, I'd love to have you weigh in on this as well. The new number is out. They do these surveys every once in a while. What is the dream? I don't know if dream, but the at least I can get by on this salary. They surveyed 2,000 people in the United States. And the number they came up with from this survey from Paychecks
was $60,000, which is what Ron makes according to AI.
Yeah, that was our last AI. That's why we haven't done it in a while. Someday, I hope to get up there. But anyway, they said 74,000. I don't know if that means 74,000 right on the dot or 74,500, etc. But get this, you guys. They also say that a quarter of Americans say they're really not very happy with what they're making, and 50% say what they're earning does not match their lifestyle, and they definitely don't feel like they're able to get ahead. What do you think?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just think it's so expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
Right.
From little things such as, I don't know if you need to buy contacts or glasses, groceries.
Groceries are
get
crazy.
A house.
They are.
It is very, very. Just a lot of stuff is unaffordable right now.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah, I think no matter what age you're at or, what your job is, I think, it's a lot harder to maybe be financially independent.
Yeah. Well, so when I go pick up my grandsons from their PE class, I take them over to the QT for a treat. And the other day, Mason grabbed some gum and brought it over, and we put it right on the counter. And the guy said something like $5.49.
For the gum?
Like, it's gum. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. You really have to be on your toes constantly.
You do. I bought chicken and what did I buy with my chicken? Like a couple of I don't know, chicken broth or something and a big package. It was like $25 just for chicken.
Oh, see.
Hello, we talked about
I know, and it wasn't the
expensive
fancy
now.
organic kind, Ron.
Right.
I was going for the value pack.
Okay.
It's pricey.
Rotisserie chicken, that's your option.
That is
for
expensive.
$5.99,
Well,
you can stretch that out for like 3 days.
Where do you get rotisserie for $5? I know it's $4.99 at Costco.
Okay. I think it's $5.99 at Walmart.
Wow.
And I think
okay.
it's $6.99 maybe at Fry's.
It's $7.99, I think, at Safeway.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
it's very pricey.
Hey, did you just catch a glimpse of Ty?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's coming up, Ty?
Good morning, you
Good
two.
morning.
All right, so we obviously are all kind of shocked about that story that happened in Maryvale.
Oh, yeah.
Our Lauren Clark has been working this story, so she is going to talk to us. And then you probably saw this video on your Instagram feed. 2 influencers sitting down to have a meal, and all of a sudden a car comes crashing through. We actually are going to talk to them today about what happened. A pretty crazy story. Those stories are coming up in just a few minutes, you guys.
All right.
Love it.
Thanks for watching.
There we go.
There we go. We're good to go. All right, we got a lot going on this Thursday morning. We've got a jam-packed show, some really good content. But the big story that we are continuing to follow here, both on air and online, is this terrible story that happened at Maryvale High School on Tuesday morning. And Lauren, you've been following this for us.
Yes. A student stabbed.
Yeah.
And died as a result of that stabbing. And we're learning a little bit more about the victim. Do we know about the circumstances that led to this incident?
In fact, we do, Anita. We just got our hands on some new court paperwork right here on Fox 10 Talks, kind of breaking a little bit of some of these details here. Now, I do want to start by prefacing over the fact that we do not, at this time, we're not going to be sharing the suspect's name until it's very crystal clear to us that he is, in fact, being charged as an adult. And that's a question that we're going to be answering today. However, I'm going through what's called the probable cause statement. In order to arrest someone with a crime, you need what's called in both lawyer and police speak as probable cause. And we have some details here in these documents. A lot of this does, in fact, line up with what some students were already telling us, but now police are saying it as well. And that this was an incident that occurred, how it all started between the victim and the suspect. Per some witnesses, they told police that it was the victim who attempted to rob, or actually did in fact rob, the victim of his firearm, and that really upset the suspect. And the suspect, as a result of this, started telling some people that he was going to murder the victim, was very upset over this.
Do we know the timeline? Did the victim allegedly steal the weapon that same day?
It was not that same day. It was prior to that day.
Did that theft occur on campus? Weapons are obviously not allowed on campus?
It does not appear that that theft occurred on campus. And in fact, it appears that that theft occurred outside of campus, going through these documents here. But according to these witnesses, some students inside the class, they say that the day that this attack happened, one witness said that the defendant, who typically sits behind her in class, moved seats and sat directly next to the victim. The defendant then punched the victim multiple times and then produced a pocket knife from the side of his pants. Now, according to the documents, this pocket knife was a very small blade, but it also had the defendant, the suspect's name, etched inside of it as well. So police were able to make that connection pretty quickly. Now, the defendant was taken to the hospital because he also had a cut on his hand. He then talked to police, and it does not appear, after being read his Miranda rights, that he said anything to police at this time. But again, police are going through why they think they have enough at this point against this defendant, is multiple witnesses seeing this happen, as well as teachers, students who were inside the class, the knife that had his name on it, according to police, as well as video evidence of this attack as well. So that's where they're coming from again at this time. But yes, it looks like the timeline is that this happened on, actually, I have that answer for you, Anita, August 18th, according to court paperwork. So it happened on Monday. And again, this crime occurred on class on Tuesday.
And again, we're talking about 16-year-olds.
Yes.
And so we're talking about a stolen firearm at the age of 16. So, I mean, this is just kind of the story keeps getting worse.
And this might be a stupid question. And I'm asking you this because, for those who don't know, you're studying law right now as we speak, so you have a little bit of a background. Could this suspect somehow plead self-defense in any way? I know that sounds like a silly question if the victim did in fact steal that firearm from him?
Yeah, I would be shocked if that would be the case. I mean, this was not a situation where, they even go into the documents here and point out that all of the witnesses say that it was not the suspect who was it was the suspect that was the aggressor, not the victim. So it seemed like this was very planned. According to someone in the class, he normally sits behind that student. He then decided to sit right next to the victim that day. So this looks like that was certainly very much something
What
that
about those pocket knives?
Yeah.
They have metal detectors at the school.
They do.
What do we know about how that worked? Did it work? Did it fail? How was the suspect able to get the pocket knife through the metal detector?
Yep, that's a great question. And we did reach out to the company that has those metal detectors. And it said the open gate, like all of our detectors, is capable of detecting very small knives. However, they went to say it is entirely up to the customer, which would be, the school or the school district, on the level of sensitivity they would like to use. And I will refer you back to leadership at Phoenix Union to answer that question. So what we do know about these metal detectors is you can up the level of sensitivity or downgrade the level of sensitivity. Again, they have to usher through a lot of kids in this class, and it would make some reasonable sense. And granted, I am kind of speculating here, just to be clear, that if you have things like laptops or other types of kind of metal
electronics,
you don't want it beeping every single time a student walks in with a laptop.
And now it takes kids 2 hours to get through class. That's certainly there's certain level of efficiency. It could make sense. You could perhaps draw the inference that the student had been able to get away with his very, very small pocket knife in class before and knew that he could do it this day.
Michael Lewis says, sounds like a premeditated attack with what you know about the law and potential charges. That sounds about right.
Especially if he was telling people ahead of time that this is what he was going to do.
Especially if he was telling people ahead of time if he was going to do. According to these court documents, it looks like the charge right now is second-degree murder. So I am going to get a little bit of clarification today from the county attorney. She's going to be holding a press conference. We're going to get clarification if, he is going to be charged an adult. I imagine he certainly is, just given the fact that this is, a very serious crime. And then also just, asking about if there's the possible charges here in this circumstance.
So traumatic for these teenagers.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up, Anita, too, because I spoke to a mental health expert yesterday, about the trauma surrounding this. And she said it's not just the people who were witnessing this, but all of the students in the school. They can experience what she calls secondhand trauma of the hearing about it and the what ifs.
Well, there's so many videos.
Exactly.
There were so many videos circulating on TikTok being one platform. And many were taken down by this morning, but you can't, everyone has a cell phone. I can't even imagine.
And I keep thinking about, these are 16-year-olds.
Barely driving.
Yeah.
They're barely driving.
The lives ahead of them.
Yeah. The 16-year-old that's the suspect obviously has ruined his life forever. And now he's completely damaged the lives of the friends and family of the victim. So it's just it's a sad story all around, but I can't wait to hear more about what exactly will be happening today with that.
We will for sure be asking, some of these questions, and we're going to have that report right here live for you at Fox 10 live at 5. And it's also going to be available up on our website too, if you guys want to follow along with that. But just absolutely heartbreaking, this whole situation.
What time is that press conference?
That press conference is happening this afternoon. I believe it is at noon. Do not quote me on that. Though, but it'll be happening.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
Well, Lauren, thank you so much for coming in.
That's really great
information.
It. Yeah. Wow. Okay. We're going to switch gears to something dramatically different.
Yes.
You want to play the video?
Yeah. So you may have seen this video already, you guys. Take a look at this. Got some individuals just looking like
these are food vloggers.
Yeah.
They're live. They're not even taping this. They're live.
And the car comes barreling right into the restaurant where they were sitting.
I don't know if there's audio on everyone else's end. We can't hear it. We played this yesterday during our broadcast on Fox 10 early morning. I literally screamed and jumped when I heard and saw that car coming in. I reacted to that. So you can only imagine how the two people in that video reacted.
Yeah, unbelievable. And guess what? We have both of them here joining us this morning via Zoom. We have Patrick Blackwood and Nina Unrated. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to speak to us this morning.
We're so glad that you're okay.
Thank you so much for having us.
I appreciate it.
You're okay. Wow.
All right, so walk us through. Everybody's kind of seen this video. It's gone viral now. Walk us through kind of what was happening and then kind of those moments leading up to when that car just came crashing through.
We would just pretty much just be rolling the behind the scenes before we start eating, and because that's what we do for our vlogs, for our eating shows. And then I just took a bite of the slider, just have some salad on top of the slider, and I closed my eyes and I opened up at the very last minute and try to make a move.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Nina, please. Sorry.
We were just having a regular day, what we normally do. This is very normal for us. Every single day we go to a different restaurant to promote the establishment and, upgrade their brands and give them enough publicity where people can go ahead and enjoy the meals that we enjoy. And it was just a regular day, a bright, sunny, beautiful day, doing what we normally do. And as soon as, ironically, I say boom, we both have salmon sliders in our hands. And I say boom, and we do like a cheers. And as soon as we bit into that, we both closed our eyes because we were so into the food. The food is absolutely amazing, by the way. This is the second time we've been to this restaurant. And rarely do we go back to restaurants a second time unless if the food is amazing. As soon as we bit into that,
Oh, man.
the glass, all I heard was like glass. And as soon as I looked, it was just, there was this glass and metal beams and a car, this huge SUV. If it wasn't because he pushed me out of the way, if it wasn't because his athleticism kicked in, I don't know what would have happened because he reacted so fast. And I think that, yeah, I mean, it was a very traumatizing experience. I mean, I'm struggling with sleeping, muscle spasms. I'm getting migraines now. And I'm just wondering, like, when is all this going to go away? And as the days pass, it's getting worse, not better. So it's not a pleasant experience.
Absolutely.
Patrick, you were sitting by that window, and I watched that video over and over, and by the grace of God, really, that you had just it hit the table. Did you feel the bumper of the car, and how? At what point did it move? Did the impact move you, or did you just know I have to move out of the way?
I believe when I opened my eyes and I saw the metal rod like moving and shifting, that's when I moved out of the way. I know it was like pretty very last second. And I believe the car did shift the bench a little bit, but all I did is when I looked back, I thought the car was going to come back and like run through the restaurant. So
The car was physically in the restaurant by about a foot. So I heard the glass and felt the glass. And then
Hey, Nina, I got to interrupt you real quick. We got to take a real quick break. If you can hang around for 2 minutes. All right, welcome back. And Nina, I apologize that we had to cut you off like that. We have a hard break right at the time here, so I apologize for cutting you off. Continue what you were saying, and maybe talk a little bit about. Do you guys know what happened to that driver? Did he lose control, or what exactly happened? If you're able to find out.
We don't know what caused the driver to do it. We just know that the car was going, I think it was 35 to 40 miles per hour when it came through the glass. And we never got an apology from the driver. The driver never got out and asked us if we were okay. I never checked up on us. It was, we have to this day, we still have no answers as to why or how. We know one thing was for certain. It wasn't weather related, and she was not under the influence of alcohol.
Nina, we're having a really tough time hearing you guys. Not sure.
I think it's the connection, unfortunately.
There might be a little bit of an issue with the connection. We're going to switch topics quickly. We'll see if maybe our producer can reestablish that connection and bring you guys back if you have the time. And we'd love to hear the rest of your story if possible. So we'll be back in just a bit. We're going to let them handle that a little bit. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right.
That's too bad. I want to hear a little bit more about what they're doing. Here comes
so
the
hopefully
hot
we
girl
can get it. Yeah, come on in. Melanie Dudley, our executive producer on the morning show, is joining us.
Hi, Mel.
Hello.
And I found this topic, and I thought this would be perfect for Mel to chime in because I read this morning in the New York Times. Fewer people are reading for fun. So listen to this. This is kind of a shocking stat. From 2003 to 2023, the share of Americans who read for pleasure fell 40%.
Wow. 20 years, 40%?
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
And I feel like books have never been more popular.
And I'm going to say that the only thing that I do that's fun is read.
Yeah.
I love to read.
So, and the article goes on to say that they don't really know why. There's no real indication of why people are not reading as much. But if you know anything about Mel, she is our resident bookworm.
Well, I wasn't always.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was little and stuff. But in my, 30s, I probably got really away from doing a lot of reading. And I told my sister, who's an English teacher.
Shout out.
Hi. I really want to get back into reading. Sometimes it's hard for me because I'm at work all day and I'm reading. I'm reading all day. Scripts and
writing
wire
and
copy
the computer.
And I really want to get back into reading. And she had seen this thing on social media.
I think I have a picture of it.
This book talk. And so for Christmas one year, she gave me like a set, I think it was a set of 6 books, one for every 2 months. And she writes clues on the outside. She wraps them in paper and then she'll write clues on the outside as to what the book is supposed to be. I've never guessed one. I'm really bad at the guessing.
Are these all really top 10 hot sellers?
Some of them are some of them are Reese Witherspoon picks. Some of them are older. As she gave me Where the Crawdads Sing, and that had been out for a while.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Good book.
Some of them are just, she's an English teacher. She reads constantly. So a lot of them are books that she's read and she thinks, that I'll really like them. And she is spot on. Some of them are fiction. Some of them are nonfiction.
Has she given you any books that you were not really in
fans
love
of?
with? Or
There
a
was
fan of?
one book that I had a really hard time getting into in the beginning.
There was one you gave me. I can't remember which one it was that I had a really hard time getting into, and I felt really bad. And I just finally said, I'm going to bring this back to you because I can't get into it.
One, and the English teacher says, don't feel bad if you don't read it. She says, don't feel bad if you're not loving it, put it away because it's going to turn you off from reading.
Oh,
Good
see,
tip.
that is. And sometimes I get into reading slumps where after I finish a book, I can't find something that was as good as the one I just finished. So then you always kind of I don't know. So I always.
I've been reading a series on my Kindle because it's easier in the evenings because you can just kind of close it and fall asleep. And I think I'm on book 6 or 7 of the series, and now I'm a little bored. I'm starting to look for something else, even though I want to read all 30 of them and know how it ends.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I can do that.
30 is a big
It's a lot.
Yeah. Our
We have
Zoom
the
is
Zoom. You wanna
reestablished.
go-
Will you
okay.
stay with us? You can ask questions.
Okay,
All right.
We've got a few minutes, and then we have one more guest.
So, Nina, we
Hi,
apologize.
guys.
But I think we got your signal back up and running, so thank you for sticking with us. I think the last question I was asking, if you do know anything, what happened to that car, that driver, how it ended up crashing into that restaurant?
So we don't know anything about the driver other than the fact that it was a clear sunny day and there was no reason for it to happen. Till this day, we still haven't got any answers. The driver never got out of the car. She never asked if we were okay.
Wow.
She never asked, did I kill anybody? Not once. Till this day, there's been no apology issued. nothing. So we don't know exactly why it happened. We have no idea.
You guys, you mentioned that you're having some migraines, and obviously you're going to have anxiety, I would imagine, after something like this. What's next for you then? How do you move forward and recover? Are you going to head back into a restaurant?
Can you still see us?
Yeah, we gotcha.
Okay. We have canceled all of our collaborations as of now. We don't have any. We canceled all our collaborations for the foreseen future. I don't know exactly when it is that we're going to go back to do collaborations. I am dealing with just the PTSD of it all, not sleeping well at night, having nightmares, cold sweats at night, muscle spasms. My body's getting tighter and tighter as the days go by. And just the thought of enjoying your day and being at a restaurant and enjoying a meal, and you just don't know what's going to happen. The fear is definitely still there and it's lingering. And I'm hoping that sooner than later, we can cope with it emotionally and mentally and then get better physically. And hopefully the muscle spasms and the tightness goes away sooner than later.
I also hope you get some answers. I think that might be helpful, right? You know exactly what happened. You know why you were saved. And that'll hopefully help you heal a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here this morning. We do hope that you guys get better. And we're sorry this happened to you, but it is such a scary situation. So we do appreciate your time this morning, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Glad
you.
you guys are okay.
Thank
My
you.
goodness. That's a scary one.
It really is.
Another topic.
Another happy topic. A happy topic
We've been
here
all
this
over
morning.
the place today.
We're talking weddings on this
Hello.
Thursday
You have
morning.
a fantastic title.
Thank you.
Tell me about it.
It is Master Wedding Planner, one of 75 in the world, and I've been doing this for 36 years and all in the Valley. So it's, weddings are incredible. It's one of those things where family and friends get together and it brings out the best in people, but it also brings out sometimes the worst.
Kim Horn, how does one become a master wedding planner?
That was my very first question.
We think alike.
Great question. Okay. So what I had to do is I had to go in front of a peer panel and make a presentation that would be worthy of what it would take to be a master wedding planner. Okay. So beyond that, you had to do so much in terms of instruction, so much in terms of education, philanthropy, giving back, teaching, being, available for the community and things like that. But it's a whole list of stuff.
Wow, that is unbelievable. Yeah. So let's talk about kind of what do you see as trends? Because you kind of always have your finger on the pulse and you come on all the time to AZAM and talk about some of these trends. What are you kind of seeing going forward?
So trends, basically since COVID, a lot has happened. So guest list has went down.
Oh, really?
So average guest list now is about 113 to 161.
See, that still seems big to me.
Right. But we have a lot of the micro weddings. We have more weddings coming Monday through Thursday because of budgets.
It's a little less expensive on those days.
Yep. And then Friday and Sunday as well. So you will see people getting married in the middle of the week, right? Because it's a budget factor and because they get a venue and they get their vendors more affordable, but also more availability.
How do the wedding guests feel about that? I mean, you'd have to take several days off. If you're going to go to a wedding on a Wednesday, you might as well take Thursday and Friday off.
Right.
Or even Wednesday as well, because you don't want to rush to the wedding and the reception. Are we seeing, is that one of the reasons why the weddings are smaller?
It is. And the thing is that when, it's not only airfare, it's hotels, it's basically, them taking time off work, them making a commitment to be there. So it makes a big difference. And that's one reason why guest counts are going down. But another reason is because of budget, because a lot of people, even less than 50 people weddings is very big right now because each person is a financial consequence to your budget.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why we brought you on. A couple weeks ago, we were chatting a little bit about this new trend. It was a talker, Ty, that you had in your portion of the broadcast. And it was people, there was a bride asking people to pay to attend her wedding. How does this work?
So they're unique, okay? It was a couple, like when you do their bio. In fact, I researched it. So the whole thing is,
she came prepared.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I did. So Marley and Steve. So Marley is 34, Steve is 37. Both had previously been married. They didn't want to go into debt when planning their wedding. Both of them are entrepreneurs. Both of them own their own businesses. Both of them plan events for a living. Okay, so you have to take that into the wheelhouse. This is something that they do every day. They didn't want to go into the debt. They thought, and they posted it on social media. They got feedback, and the whole thing came back as like, well, why not? If we do a main event, we sell tickets all the time. So why not sell tickets to our main event, which is our wedding? So they did it for just the ceremony, just the day of the wedding, which was on a Friday, by the way.
Okay.
So in Idaho. So it's not in Phoenix.
The ceremony meaning the church.
So they did a ceremony and cocktail dinner reception at Honolulu Farms, which is it's a massive acreage type of thing in Idaho, very gorgeous. And so what they did is they sold those for $57. Okay, so $57 for one event. They didn't ask for gifts. They wanted to make sure that everything that would be coming in would be going either to their budget or to philanthropy.
Okay,
and so and then they also did a 3-day ticket, which was like the pre-festivities during the wedding and then post-festivities, and that price point was $997. Wow. Okay,
I'd be like, no, thank you.
We have about 2 minutes left. Yep. Is this a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I am really doing thumbs down, okay? Because of the reason being is that you are not going to get vendors and people that are going to be, everyone is about philanthropy and giving back, but also it's a different type of event. It's family and friends that you want there versus, selling a ticket to have people there that have the money to pay for it.
Kim, we're kind of running up against the clock here, so I'm going to do rapid fire.
Yep.
What's the average price of a wedding?
Average price of wedding is between $33,000 and $36,000.
What's the best place in the valley to get married?
Ooh, loaded. That is a big question. So it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for mountain view, if you're looking for sunset, if you're looking for glass enclosed, I don't want to.
Top spot, the number one spot people want right now. Do you have one?
So one of my favorites is Ashley Castle, which is over in Chandler, very Tuscany. Everything is outside. It has atriums, and it's basically fast forward and you are in Little Italy.
How far ahead are you booking?
That was my next question. Good. Look at this.
I love this.
Ty and I, yeah.
Yes. So
we are work wife and husband. So.
I love that. Work husband, work wife. So, in terms of things, people are booking short term and people are booking longer term. So, as long as I'm available for the date and, just really depends on what they're looking for.
All right.
How do they get a hold of you?
30 seconds left, Kim.
Yep. ArizonaWeddingShow.com, or they can text me 602-418-9089.
Kim, it's always great when you come on.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thanks for having
it.
us.
Some interesting insight if you're planning the big day.
Don't sell tickets to your wedding.
That is expensive,
Don't
though.
sell $990.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, everyone.
Kim, thank you.
Des and Ron are coming up.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
It's Ron and Des, and we are ready to join you and have a great time.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah. I'm giving you a testing 1, 2, 3. Can everybody hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. For some reason it's not coming through very well on my headsets, but anyway.
Yeah, I don't have any sound either.
Okay.
All right. That's interesting.
Well, nevertheless, we are here with working headsets or not. We are certainly glad to be able to hang out with you guys today here on Fox 10 Talks. So, I'm Ron. She's Des.
Hi.
And this is one of the very best of all the half hours we do now on our streaming show.
Oh, I like how you say that, Ron.
Thank you, Des.
I agree.
Good.
Second
All right. What's been going on with you so far today?
Oh, boy. Oh, you know.
Where were you?
We were in Scottsdale at a company called Tech Bros. So they recycle things like this,
right.
larger items, computers, hard drives, you name it. They recycle, refurbish, and then they even repurpose some parts from different devices, and they resell things. So it's pretty cool what they do.
You know what's weird? I cannot hear you.
No? Yeah. You
but
know
I
what?
can hear the music.
Okay. I have zero sound whatsoever in my headphones, so I think these interviews are going to be all you.
Yeah? Well,
I can't hear a thing.
Okay. Let's see what happens. That's for sure.
Yeah, so check them out. They're in Scottsdale. They do business and residential.
Yeah.
So if you just have a couple items at home, they'll do that. And then they take huge pallets, too, from businesses and whatnot. So
I often wonder to myself when we go out and do these various live shots, and every day we have new businesses, whether it's technical like this, whether it's more arts and crafts, whether it's food. If other cities are as entrepreneurial as we are here in the Valley, every day there are new businesses opening up with great ideas.
Oh, yeah. And their story, I mean, they're two friends, but they call themselves brothers because they're that close.
Yes.
They're both Armenian.
Oh,
and
is that right?
their parents, I guess, were like best friends. So now they're best friends and they started this. So sometimes it's like, oh, that's, I mean, what you do is cool, but,
that
you
is
know,
super
yeah, the
cool.
connections there too.
Okay, well,
Pretty
we
neat.
have plenty to talk about this morning here on Fox 10 Talks, and we love, I'm going to pull up the chat right now so that we can interact with you guys just a little bit and find out exactly how everything's going for you. So, one of the big stories this morning is that there are going to be a lot of questions asked, and it could be a while before we get more answers. Could more have been done to save the life of a young man at a high school here in the Valley? Now, for those of you who are watching here in the Metro Phoenix area, you are probably very well aware of Maryvale High School. It's been around for a long time, and it is definitely one of the most well-known schools here in the area, but there was a deadly stabbing that happened just earlier this week, and we've been learning more details. Here we are on Thursday, approaching the noon hour. It's only been about 48 hours since right now when it happened. And now they've identified the student who was killed, a 16-year-old named Michael Montoya, and the classmate accused of stabbing him to death used a pocket knife. So police say he was attacked in class by another male classmate. And so when the story first broke, I think people thought common areas, bathrooms, hallways, etc. Just the fact that it may have happened in a classroom setting makes it even more shocking. So here's what people were saying regarding all of this, including the superintendent of schools for the state of Arizona, Tom Horn.
The safety officer there rendered immediate aid and did his job well. This reinforces my commitment to do everything I can to make our schools safe. We did propose to the legislature, and the legislature passed a change in the law about school safety that says that if we have money left over that we normally devote to school safety officers, that money can be used for facilities. So if they want to put a metal detector or something like that, that money is now available.
And they just put in all this new stuff, and I thought, oh great, metal detectors. It didn't work. and he got in with a pocket knife.
Yeah, well, there's the confirmation, and here's what was happening on campus. By the way, the woman you just heard from there, Deborah, her grandson goes to Maryvale High School. He was on campus when the stabbings happened. They are not doing in-person learning right now because just the trauma of those students. You've got these young people who are there to learn. They're there to see their friends. They're ready to, root on their sports teams, etc., participate in activities, and then you have to deal with something like this. So the question, of course, is could more have been done? And we probably will not know the answers, Des,
right,
for quite some time. By the way, do you hear me now on your headphones?
I can hear you now.
I hear you now as well.
Yep. Thank you guys for getting that fixed.
Yep.
Yeah, and we looked into that. Maryvale was part of a pilot program as well that incorporated these weapon detection systems.
Right.
So they've had it in place for a year now, whereas the district as a whole, that just started on August 4th. But they've already had this in place. And, there is a section on the webpage, too, that has frequently asked questions on the district's website if anyone is interested in finding out a little more about that.
And we hate to hear about any level of violence, whether it's somebody who's middle-aged or older, but when it's a young person like this, when it's teen-on-teen violence, and you've got a young man who lost his life with his whole future ahead of him, it's really heartbreaking. And then we have this story that's been coming in. This comes to us from Mesa, where a teenage boy and a young man are behind bars after a robbery leads to, of all things, a shootout in our state's third largest city. Police say 20-year-old Brandon Major met up with a 13-year-old boy right around Stapley in Maine Tuesday night to sell a ring that was posted on OfferUp. And during the transaction, police say the teen pulled out the gun and robbed Major and then ran away. And detectives say Major pulled out his own gun, opened fire, hit the boy in the leg. The teen fired back but didn't hit Major. But there was collateral damage as homes in the area were hit by the bullets. Again, I used to live kind of right up in this area here. There was a rental house I was in right there at about Stapley and McKellips, and it's pretty shocking. But they're both arrested now on assault charges, and I believe weapons charges as well. The only good thing to come out of that story, and again, you got a couple of young people that were involved, is that nobody was killed.
I mean, that is the miracle in that when you hear the police reports and some of those bullets did hit homes nearby, just lucky no one was outside in their front yard or getting in the car or walking down the sidewalk at that time.
That's for sure. Okay, we have an opportunity now to visit with one of the best reporters over at the WSJ, the Wall Street Journal. It's Vera Bergengruen who joins us. And speaking of violence and maybe even youth violence, she's joining us here after reporting on what's been going on in Washington and the efforts to try to kind of crack down on crime there. Vera, can you hear us? Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so how's it been playing out so far? We see protests. I guess protests always attract the most attention. But are crime levels continuing to drop?
It is still a little early to tell because, of course, it would have to be, compared to other Augusts and things like that. Some of the statistics from the White House are saying that, robberies and assaults have dropped. I think at the same time, the number of arrests is significantly higher than it usually is. So that's another thing that we're seeing. And the most interesting trend that I think has called a lot of attention here is that when President Trump announced the security crackdown, he framed it as being against violent crime and, which most people interpret as, assaults, murders, things like that. But almost half of the arrests have been immigration-related arrests. And so, it's really been quite an impact in a lot of the D.C. neighborhoods that are majority Hispanic.
Yes, Vera, I'm glad you touched base on that. I was just going to ask that. So who is he arresting? Are we arresting people with warrants, with the criminal pass? It's like who's being rounded up here? And then some new information coming out from the White House today saying that the president is actually going to patrol D.C. alongside law enforcement tonight and the National Guard as well. Have you heard or learned anything more about that?
Can that even happen?
Yeah.
Could the Secret Service even allow that?
It's interesting. I think the one thing that's important to remember here is that, the National Guard itself is not allowed to actually carry out law enforcement, which is obviously, against the law. So they have been mainly a visible presence. They've been kind of symbolic. They have been standing by the National Mall, by the monuments, outside of metro stations as a visible deterrent, as defense officials tell me. I am kind of curious what the president is going to do with them, because they're not the ones who've been patrolling the neighborhoods, because they're not really allowed to do much.
So I'm reading a piece here in Fox News from, let's see, who wrote this? It's an opinion piece, David Marcus. But he says that as of Wednesday afternoon, the nation's capital had no murders for 7 days in a row, something that had not been achieved since March of this year. Have you been able to confirm whether that's true?
I know that there have been some incidents right after he announced the surge. I think so far we're kind of tracking all of that. That sounds true. Yeah. And to answer your earlier question, because I forgot to answer, the kind of people that they're picking up are largely, according to them, people who have illegal guns, who are some kind of, they're arresting them on drug charges. They told me that they're kind of going after people who, in some cases, do have outstanding warrants. And they're saying that in the course of doing their policing, if they encounter people who are in the country illegally, they're going to arrest and deport them, same as they would in the rest of the country. But my reporting here has shown that, it is lived a little bit differently in many neighborhoods in Washington, because we've seen ICE vans outside of churches and daycare centers. They've arrested, vendors and nannies. And so, not to say that, I'm assuming law enforcement has a reason in their own way, but it's interesting to see that it's not exactly the image of gang members that most people have in mind. So there have been those protests that you mentioned in response.
Mm-hmm. A lot happening here. And now you've got the DOJ investigating the crime statistics. There's a lot in this, Vera.
Yeah, and we do want to get your perspective on that. Let me just jump in. We have a break we're up against here in about 15 seconds. Can you stick with us after a quick 2-minute break for just a couple of more questions?
Of course.
Okay. All right. We're going to do that. And we have a mystery cam. We always pop it up for people who are watching from the U.S. or somewhere else. And then we're going to get right back to Vera. Really interesting reporting from her in the Wall Street Journal. Back after this. All right, everybody. Welcome back to more of Fox 10 Talks. So if you've just stumbled across us online, we are the streaming show that goes live every morning at 10 a.m. on YouTube, on the Fox local app. And if you've got your TV handy, you can watch us on Channel 45. That's Fox 10 Extra. At quarter till, we always take a quick little break, have some fun with you to see if you can guess where this is. Des, I'm seeing a guess or two anyway. Charles David, he's always got smart answers. Yeah.
That is a good guess.
Yeah, Houston? Okay, so I think I do know where it is. And this is funny because this particular city, we have like 2 or 3 different cameras. One's a kind of a wide angle, and then you've got this one along the water.
So you're remembering our camera angles now?
Kinda.
Kinda.
But it's now maybe I'm totally off base, and maybe Charles is right, and it's in Texas. And Louis just jumped in with a guess of Florida.
I'm going to go Georgia.
But when I was a little kid, my aunt and uncle owned an apple orchard about a mile from the border with Canada, way up there north of Wenatchee in a little town called Oroville, right by Tenasket, all these little towns. And so the special treat for us was to hop in the car and go up to, they had a Dairy Queen in Canada.
Oh, I love a good DQ.
And we didn't have one anywhere nearby.
Chocolate cone with chocolate dip, please.
Oh, man. Just the mention of it. Now I got to go get one. But the towns up there are 3 of them. They're all spectacularly beautiful. Just a quick tip, if you're ever up in that neck of the woods, get your passport and go across and go see Vernon, Penticton, and Kelowna. And of those 3, I'm going to guess it's either Penticton or Kelowna, but I'm going to go with Kelowna. All right, Des, what do you think?
All
Ready?
right.
You already looked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ron, you're right today.
Kelowna.
I did. I accidentally cheated earlier.
I
opened it without thinking.
Right.
Kelowna, British Columbia.
We have a whole studio full of people today. Anybody ever been to Kelowna, British Columbia? I'm looking
Show
around.
of hands.
No?
Oh, Isabella.
Wait. Bella, you've been?
Yeah.
She's
What'd
been
you do there?
everywhere. Yeah, hold on.
Got some family there?
We have the ability. Give us a Bella bomb.
Come over here.
Yeah. What did you do? When did you go?
It was when I want to say I was in middle school. I have family on both sides in Canada, so a lot of them are in BC and Vancouver, but I think we were doing a trip somewhere. I don't know if it was to go fishing.
Oops. Oh, we lost you. Okay, so just a little family trip.
Okay.
That's so great.
Cool.
Okay, let's get back to our phone report from the Wall Street Journal's Vera Bergengruen. Vera, am I saying your name correctly?
You are, thank you.
Good. Okay. Well, I was in Norway a few years ago in a town called Bergen. So I thought if I can get the first part right, we're all going to be in good shape. We're all going to be in good shape here. Yeah. So what about this story? I know it really bubbled up a few days ago. Joe Scarborough on his show on one of the cable networks was calling out somebody he thought was kind of a hypocrite because he said, I had a conversation with this guy and he said he was so glad to see that crime was actually, somebody was going to do something about crime in D.C. And then he goes online and is still blasting President Trump. I'm assuming you're in D.C. Has there been a sense that crime is an issue there?
Yes, absolutely. I think most people don't disagree that crime is an issue here. And that has been actually one of the most interesting and nuanced parts of most of us reporting on the city is that, I was out there this weekend reporting several evenings in some of the neighborhoods that are hardest hit by crime and have the highest rate of shootings. And, they were actually really excited. Many residents said that, more federal resources, more attention to crime is a good thing, and they actually were eagerly kind of looking down the street hoping to see National Guard or someone show up, and they didn't really see them because at least, that has to be fair, that was over the weekend, and it has been shifting over the course of this week. But, it seemed like at the beginning especially, a lot of the law enforcement presence and the search was focused on tourist areas, on, kind of the nightlife corridor in downtown Washington, and not so much in the outskirts where they told me that they still kind of see their normal policemen that they always see and not much else. Of course, to reiterate, the National Guard can't actually do law enforcement except in very narrow circumstances. So I think when the president announced this big deployment, some people probably thought it would look different than it actually does.
Excellent information. I was almost afraid to ask that question at the end there. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but yeah, the fact that you live in Washington, not only great reporting, but you can give us your own personal experience as well.
Yeah, it's always different when you live it and experience it. So.
Vera, thank you. Hopefully we can call on you again. Great interview, and we appreciate your time.
Absolutely, anytime. Thank you so much.
Okay, on to our next story here, and I was so disappointed to see this, but this is the video that came into our newsroom overnight from emergency services in Ukraine. There was a new Russian attack with 15 people injured, 1 person dead, and they are now saying this was the largest aerial attack by Russia with both missiles and drones. 500 drones and 40 missiles, and it hit a part of the country that really has been somewhat immune, not in that Donbass or eastern region, but all the way over in the west, which is where a lot of the military aid comes in from other nations. But Des, it just makes you wonder, I mean, truly, what are the prospects for a peace deal?
I was going to say, it really makes you question everything that happened since last Friday with President Trump and Putin. And it seemed like maybe there was some hope that Putin and Zelensky were going to get together for a meeting. But then you see this and you question how likely will that be.
I know. I know. Yeah, the timing on it is just
Not
weird.
good.
You would sure think, I mean, if you're in charge of that country, you would sure think that you could issue the orders to calm things down for a while. But anyway, all right. So the summer heat, we all have to deal with it. It was 93 degrees when we went on the air this morning, bright and early. We're looking at,
According to your Tesla 97.
Yeah, my car said 97. I was arguing with it.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, people actually come here in the summer. Yes, you get like half price rates on the hotels and the golf courses, and maybe you get some deals at the nightlife, night spots, etc. But we actually went to Scottsdale and we're talking to people about it yesterday. And our chief editor, Jeff Haggerty, has done a really good job of combining everybody's thoughts as we were chatting with him yesterday and dealing with the heat.
Scottsdale has had more bachelorette parties than Nashville last couple of years.
Because it is kind of a tolerable heat, even though it's hot. People seem to make it through and still have a good time.
Yeah, they do not care. Honestly, it blows my mind every summer. And what's even crazier is they're still wanting to do those activities that are outdoors. So the party bike, the party boat, the hiking, the ATV.
But we're also seeing a lot of men's bachelor parties. They just don't wear the sashes, so nobody knows it, right?
A lot of people are coming here for the weather, but this summer, I think there's a lot going on. There's a lot of great restaurants, so many things to do, great shopping.
And so you can hear, people taking that attitude like, and I will say, if you have been in places, I think the hottest I've ever been was years ago when Disney World was quite a bit younger. Back, I think it was in the 90s, and we went, and it was about 95 degrees and about 95% humidity, and you were sweating within 15 seconds of exiting the car, Des. So when people say it's a dry heat, nobody wants 113. We would rather have what we're going to be getting in a few more days, which is like a 104 or 106. That's more reasonable.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But a dry heat is way different than...
Says the girl from the East Coast.
Yeah.
Says the lady from Buffalo.
It took about 5 years to convince my parents of that, but they're finally starting to catch on. It is different. So.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so anyway, good for them and good for these hotels that cut the rates, and we welcome everybody to town all the time. So, if you're a regular watcher of Fox 10 Talks, that we've been having fun this week checking in at the championship poker tournament that's been going on, speaking of, in Scottsdale. And as a wrap to the whole week, look at this, would you, ladies and gentlemen? Let's have a nice studio. We only got like 6 people in this. Let's have a nice studio round of applause. Come on, people. We have the new poker champion, and here he is. He is Brandon Mitchell from Casa Grande. Brandon, how'd you do it?
I've been playing poker professionally for 3 years. I have a great support system in multiple ways, in poker strategy, and then in my family being there and supporting me. They were all there yesterday. My friends were all there, and that just is what I need to win, and that's what I did.
Wow,
So.
but professionally for 3 years, you were sitting at the table in this tournament all throughout, and then especially at the end with folks that have been playing, I mean, even longer than that. So, like, you know, what are you telling yourself in the moment, and, you know, the pep talk that you might be, you know, giving yourself, knowing that, like, you know, hey, yeah, it's only been 3 years, but I can do this.
Definitely, yeah. I think that comes a lot from my friends and my family, just telling me that they believe in me and that they know I can do it, and that's what I need.
That's incredible.
The motivation.
Yeah.
You know, but you're sitting across the table from other people who are also really good at this game. What do you think gives you the leg up on the best of the best competition?
I think that in order to win, you have to think you're the best. Mm-hmm. So I think all of the other players are great players, but I think that if I play my best, that I'm the best, and I think you need to believe that in order to win.
Yeah,
but
mentality.
I've always wanted to ask a question, somebody at your caliber here. Truly, how much of it is luck? I get the expertise part, but how much is luck?
100%. A lot of it is luck.
100%. What? I'm gonna start playing poker then.
It's not 100% luck. I'm saying there's definitely a lot of luck. I can say a hand, like I got all in with, I had 2 jacks. Yeah. The other guy had 2 aces. Okay. This is at the final table with 7 people left. Yeah. I have around a 20% chance of winning.
Okay.
If I don't win that hand, then I'm out of the tournament. The flop had a jack on it. No ace came out, so I won.
Wow.
So
okay.
I would say like 40% luck, 60% skill.
Wow.
Excellent.
Wow. And you have a background in law enforcement. First, I want to say thank you for that. I
Thank you.
appreciate, you know, your service. Do you want to share a little bit about what you were doing prior to poker?
Yeah, so when I was 20 years old, I went into the Phoenix Regional Police Academy to become a state trooper with DPS. I finished that about 10 days after I turned 21. Mm-hmm. I was stationed in Casa Grande, District 6, which is where I was born and raised. It's where my family lives.
So how long were you actually active and on patrol?
Around 3 years.
Wow.
Full time.
Wow.
And then is that when then you picked up poker, or have you always been playing your whole life?
By the way, we got 30 seconds left in our show, but
okay.
What's the gist? Yeah.
I've been playing poker my whole life.
Okay.
I started playing again when I was a trooper. It was going well, and I decided to become a reserve trooper.
All right, more fun really quickly. What are you going to do with that money that you won? $500,000.
$500,000.
What are you going to do? First thing you're buying?
Might buy my wife a car.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Good. Have you decided what kind yet?
Whatever she wants.
Whoa.
Oh, get the G-Wagon, honey.
Correct.
Get it.
Okay. We're going to see a new Ferrari in Casa Grande here.
Ooh.
Right. Hey, congratulations. And maybe you can come back next year when you win again.
Thank you.
And that's today's Fox 10 Talks, everybody.
Really fun. Good job, guys.
Thank you.